Hi guys, I'm going to show you my latest distro install, and as you can already see from the wallpaper here, it's Arch Linux, and I've decided to switch from Manjaro to Arch pretty quickly after installing Manjaro, and I'm now try booting Windows, Manjaro and Arch. As you can see, I have 9 partitions, and SDA 8 and 9 I am using now for Arch, 6 and 7 for Manjaro, and on 3 is Windows, and on 4 is a shared data partition, and the rest is booting, FE, etc. Well, the biggest advantage of Arch, and I've already found it out quite quickly, is that it has the lowest bloat level of all OSs I've ever used and installed. And just in a very simple picture, Windows, we all know Candy Crush Saga, for instance Ubuntu, but it can be any other distro, and I mean not the minimal install, of course. You also can bloat down Ubuntu at install. It will never be as small as maybe Manjaro in the minimalistic ISO or Architect, and it will never be that small, I guess, like Arch, although it would be a good idea, even maybe for Windows, to offer the possibility to users to scale up their, let's say, bloat level as they wish. Okay, but that's very clear, and I have to say, in a few days working with Arch, it really is a great distro. Currently I've installed quite some packages already. I'm only at about 6-7 gigs. Didn't even run BleachBit today, so I think I can go back to 6.5, maybe 6 gigs if I clean up all temp files and databases, etc. Then I think I'm at 6 gigs at the moment, so that's really lean and mean. Well, I'm running on the same machine as my video with Manjaro. It's still the same Lenovo Yoga standard laptop, i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and what you can or at least what I found to at first is the much lower CPU usage than in my system with Manjaro. It's not completely fair because I'm running a lot less services at the moment than I did in Manjaro when I made that video, but still it shows it's a really clean, minimalistic initial install. If you look at the services running, then you will see that I have 10 services running at the moment, daemons, of which UFW is not standard, UFW is not standard, and the network manager also is not installed by default. So if you have a totally clean install, and let's say you also did not install the graphical desktop environment, as I'm using KDE Plasma now, you have maybe 5 services running, and for the rest it's completely empty. So that's just great, and you can build from that. So I still have to do my cups install, etc. Some things, but I'm really planning on keeping it plain and lightweight. And that is, of course, that's very funny. If I watched a video by Derek Taylor of DistroTube, and he talked about core distros and user-friendly distros and garage distros and meme distros like Hannah Montana. You even have protest distros, I found out, but I think, and Arch is never mentioned like that. Arch is always mentioned as a distro for professionals, but I think it's you could say it's the category lightweight distros. Like normally you would maybe mention Lubuntu or Puppy Linux, but I think it really is a lightweight distro if you just start out with Arch and only install what's really needed. Now, if I look at my backstrap command when I installed Arch for the first time, I only used base devil, Linux firmware, network manager, and sudo, and of course Plasma and the Plasma network manager. And I saw that he also installed SDDM standardly as the window manager, but that's it. And nothing more, nothing less. And I also want to keep my R packages, at least in the beginning phase of Arch, to a limited number of packages. At the moment I only have, I think, oh yeah, here we have it, Google and Spotify and Pulse Audio DNLA. As I already mentioned, that's my DNLA, a little bit older DNLA streaming package. And for the rest, it's all, let's say, native core repo packages in there at the moment. But it really, performs like a blast. Also in boot up times, etc. It's so clean. And combined with, let's say, a very clean ArchOS, combined with the feature-rich KDE Plasma desktop, you already have quite some functionality out of the box. And I'm still tweaking around with the KDE environment. These kinds of things, for instance, that a window pops up once I switch my mouse focus. Of course, which I already said in my previous video, I'm very happy with the Yakuake drop-down terminal, which is already again installed by me now on the Arch distro. And what I'm still looking into is to get the analog clock of the breath theme, which Manjaro Jurara offers out of the box. I'm running on the Breeze theme, which I think is much more mature and older, but the analog clock of the breath theme in Manjaro I like much more. It's dark, but I haven't been able to switch that, so I'm still looking into that. Yeah, for the rest, it really is a great distro, and I really recommend people to take time, sit down, go to the Arch Wiki installation guide. It's very clear, it's complete. If you just take time and follow the instructions, it'll be totally not difficult, at least not as difficult as people tend to say. You can be up and running in 15 minutes, and then you have your first Arch install, and you will be impressed by the cleanness and the core feel of this distribution. So I really recommend people to try out Arch, and don't be afraid of the manual actions you have to perform. Okay, that's it for today. In a few weeks you probably hear again from me with maybe even another distro and another new insights on Manjaro and Arch. But I think I'm here to stay